Hey guys, Bowserkins here for another video. Today we're going to look at some in-action gameplay of the 9.2 PTR Blood DK tier set. Obviously a lot of excitement around this tier set in my last video, which I posted about 5 days ago. I showed you guys basically my instant reaction to the tier set, some speculation as to what could happen with the tier set in the future because the current iteration of it is just simply not feasible for especially for Mythic Plus where you can basically stack um, the 2 and the 4 setup infinitely, right? You're gaining infinite strength, you're gaining infinite duration on the dancing weapon. It's not going to happen, guys. Don't get your hopes up. Personally, my hopes are that when they make the changes that they need to make for this to be balanced, that they don't overdo it and crush it into oblivion. And my biggest concern, obviously, is um, the single target part of this tier set is actually fairly balanced. What it's doing in single target is very acceptable, but the abuse comes in when you have multiple targets. But in terms of the action here, before we start, I just want to show you guys the talents. It's a very standard setup for Blood DK. There's some deviation here on the last row between Purgatory and Red Thirst. Not a lot of people are running Bone Storm. Um, you know, it is what it is. You guys make your own decisions on those. I'll be running the Night Phase Soulbind for this test, and that's mainly just because I wanted to test out how high I can get my strength in a short period of time. And you get more strength from Night Phase, standing in your Death Stew, and Heart Striking in there. Gives you stacks of the Death Stew buff and gives you extra strength. To double down on that, I'm running the Death Stew Legendary, which doubles basically the effective strength that I'm getting from Death Stew. I will say that might be a little bit of a controversial decision on your guys' part if you haven't tested this already, but I can tell you if you are running the, let's see, where do I have it in my bags here? If you're running the legendary for Dancing Rune Weapon, here it is right here, you will quickly find out based on how you abuse this in multi-target situations that you will not be benefiting from the cooldown reduction, nor will you be benefiting from the rune regeneration rate when it ends. And that, for obvious reasons, is because it never ends. It never ends. As long as you're pulling from one trash pack to the next, it's simply not going to end. So we'll go ahead and get in here. I'm going to just pull these first 3 mobs. We'll go ahead and reset our DPS meter here. And I'll show you guys what those numbers look like. Just going to death grip this obliterator here. Make our job nice and easy. Pop this immediately. And we're off to the races. So one thing I've noticed very quickly, very early on in this testing is that there is some kind of cooldown reduction, or excuse me, internal cooldown for the strength buff that we're getting from the tier set. I don't know exactly what the internal cooldown is, but we'll go over that here in a little bit when I show you kind of the end results of what this looks like. But I'm heart striking far more times than I'm actually getting the stack of strength. You can see my strength up here at 37 stacks, 37%. And my dancing weapon is currently at 20 seconds left. It starts at 11 seconds duration, so I am absolutely trucking it here. Go to this next pack. We'll get these heart strikes going again. Dancing weapon above 20 seconds again, just completely broken as you guys can see. Doing things that are completely unfair. And again, we're parrying from the dancing weapons. We're also parrying from just our normal character. Heart strikes going out everywhere. It's totally insane. Our damage is way above where it should be. I mean, we're in a heroic right now, but it doesn't matter, right? If I were to go into live and test my damage against these things, it would be like probably 6-7k at the absolute max. We are well above that at the moment. Sitting at 14k, and this is with, you know, a slowing down a little bit. We're still at 10 seconds duration. We just hit 100 stacks of strength. We're at 4,000 strength total right now. This is not how this game is supposed to be played. Or is it, right? Maybe this is how the game is supposed to be played. So yeah, with a little bit more agency, I could just endlessly pull this dungeon and keep that stack up. We got to 105 stacks here, well over 4,000 strength on occasions. Um, so it's bananas. Um, but I do want to go over something here, and that is how many hard strikes we actually threw out there. And this is like Thrash on Guardian spec level, some insane in terms of our damage share over the course of our abilities, over the course of a pull, I should say, from our abilities. Hard Strike never does this much damage, right? And that's because it's capped at 5 targets. But the difference being, I cast it only 37 times, as you can see from my damage breakdown here. I cast it 37 times. I hit 357 times, right? We don't hit 10 targets with Hard Strike. We're just Hard Striking constantly from those paris, right? That's the breakdown from the tier set, right? Parrying an attack causes your weapon to lash out, Heart Striking your attacker. And it's doing that, doing it flawlessly. No bugs as far as I can tell. I mean, there's so many of them, and it's impossible to keep track of, where the damage is going. But I mean, it's totally insane how many actual heart strikes are getting thrown out there. I will say it's not interacting with the rune power. I don't have like a massive overcap of rune power. It's difficult for me to say where my rune power is all the time. I just know that I'm never out of it, but I never have too much when I'm doing these tests, and certainly have not noticed any kind of crazy situation that I had speculated on earlier. That we'd have 100 runic power every single moment of every pull that we had dancing weapon up. It doesn't feel like you're getting the extra rune power from all those heart strikes, but you don't really need it. You don't really need it with this current iteration because the amount of strength you're getting is pretty much making you unkillable because of the pari cap, right? Let me show you what this looks like on single target. However, I'm just going to pull this guy over. Um, there are certainly, I guess, enemies that you could potentially get more stacks from this, just from getting the pari heart strikes to increase the duration. Um, but you could also end up with a worse situation. But as you can see from my counter, dancing weapon is definitely losing its duration over the course of this, and it falls off there. I'll go ahead and kill this guy real quick so that we can take a look at what the actual duration was. And he's dead. Alright. That current segment there was 43 seconds to kill that heroic Stoneborn. Hard Strike was still the number one ability, but more importantly, we want to look over the course of that, 43-second pull. We want to see what our uptime was, right? We'll go here to buff uptime, take a look, and our dancing weapon lasted 28 seconds on a single target fight, right? Obviously, that'll be the uptime on dancing weapon will go down. You can see there 64.7%. That's not how high it's going to be on like a tyrannical boss fight. If you are using the legendary, which in that situation it would be relevant, your uptime would probably be with this current iteration over 40%. I would speculate. I don't have any concrete numbers on that because I haven't tested it, but I'm guessing right now it'd be around 40%. That would make the tier set extremely potent in raid fights, for example, where the enemy that it's actually hitting you is not hitting you with spell casts, right? You're actually getting a lot of paris, therefore you're getting extra uptime on your dancing weapon. There's a lot of value there, and I think that it's balanced value when you compare it to other tier sets in single target. The problem right now lies with, or maybe it isn't a problem, right? Wink, wink. Maybe it's the greatest thing that ever happened to us. But the issues that with the tier set, the balancing of it, come from what I showed you, the AOE packs, stacking it up infinitely, um, and getting just an absurd amount of strength from the tier set. Of course, keeping that dancing weapon buff up, which is typically not something that's supposed to be up all the time because, as I said in my last video, trying to balance the damage of things around 65% pari, because we get 40% from dancing weapon, right? So 62% pari, even without any strength bonuses or anything, you know, Dancing Weapon is a very strong defensive cooldown for Blood DK, and having it up constantly is basically going to make you unkillable, right? Unless you're facing a ton of magic damage. But Blood DK is really good against that too. So we're going to see some changes, is basically my conclusion here. Hopefully, they're changes that don't nerf it into the ground or make it less exciting. I wouldn't. I would leave the door open to the possibility they just move away from Dancing Weapon entirely, which I guess I'm okay with. It's cool that you're getting synergy between the tier set and the legendary that everyone wants to run. This, Crimson Rune Weapon legendary. It's even more exciting when you think about the possibilities of getting all the extra strength from Death's Due as Night Fae, because Night Fae has not been getting a lot of play in 9.1 or certainly in 9.0. So I don't know, guys. Leave your thoughts in the comments in terms of where you want to see the tier set go. Um, I don't really. I mean, I hope it's good. I've been playing this character for 12 years. I want it to be good. I want Blood DK to be in the meta for Mythic Plus, for the rest of Shadowlands. Right now, it's kind of like right on the cusp of it. You can play it. I'm in 22s, 23s with Blood DK right now. It feels okay. The damage could be buffed, right? So leave your thoughts in the comments. Where do you think Blood DK should go with the tier set? And as always, I appreciate the comments, the feedback. Make sure to like the video if you did. And as always, please subscribe to the channel. It helps me out a ton. I love seeing the new people come in, take a look at the videos, and it's always appreciated. All right, this has been Bowserkins checking out the Blood DK on the 9.2 PTR. Thanks for watching. You guys have a good one.